The January 6th committee just made its most aggressive move yet. The twice impeached former president has now been officially subpoenaed by lawmakers investigating the attack on the Capitol and efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The committee's letter left no doubt they see Donald Trump as fully accountable. Here's how some of my colleagues reported on this historic subpoena and its carefully worded allegations.
This new material puts Trump at the center of the coup plot to overturn the election.
In a letter attached to the subpoena, Chairman Benny Thompson and Vice Chair Liz Cheney write this, quote, as demonstrated in our hearings, we have assembled overwhelming evidence, including from dozens of your former appointees and staff, that you personally orchestrated and oversaw a multi-part effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election and to obstruct the peaceful transition of power.
One of the lines that struck me the most as I've been reading through this in just the last few minutes, where at one point they say, you were at the center of the first and only effort by any U.S. president to overturn an election and obstruct the peaceful transfer of power, ultimately culminating in a bloody attack on our own Capitol and on Congress itself.
Earlier tonight, committee member Jamie Raskin discussed the subpoena with some pointed challenges to the man at Mar-a-Lago.
The idea that somebody would ascend to the highest office in the land, President of the United States, and then refuse to testify about the worst domestic violent insurrection and attack on the U.S. Capitol in our history is astounding. At the very least, somebody who's willing to send other people into battle to stop the steal on the patently false grounds that the election was stolen certainly should not be so much of a snowflake as not even to come forward to state his own rationale for why he did that and why he continues to claim against all the evidence that the election was stolen from him.
Trump has now been ordered to submit documents by November 4th and appear for a deposition on November 14th. The 1-6 committee wants to see Trump's communications with a long list of his allies, including former strategist Steve Bannon. Bannon, of course, defied the panel's subpoena, and today he was sentenced to 4 months in prison for contempt of Congress. But he will not be behind bars for a while longer. The judge hooked him up, saying Bannon could remain free while he appeals his conviction. There's also new reporting about Trump White House lawyer Eric Hirschman. You remember that guy. He gave some very colorful testimony over the summer during the January 6th hearing. Axios has now obtained emails from Hirschman expressing concerns that the former president might sign court documents verifying voter fraud in Georgia. Why was he concerned? Because there wasn't any. Despite that, Trump signed the sworn statement anyway. A Georgia prosecutor has been looking into possible efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in that state. And South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham is still trying to avoid talking to that very grand jury. Just yesterday, a court rejected his latest appeal to toss out his subpoena. And today, Graham asked the Supreme Court to block the effort to force him to testify. Also tonight, a disturbing new report on those documents seized from Mar-a-Lago. The Washington Post says some of what was recovered by the FBI from Trump's Florida club included highly sensitive intelligence about U.S. adversaries, Iran and China. The White House refused to comment on the specifics of the report, but a spokesperson did say this.
We take the proper treatment of classified and confidential information very, very seriously here. There are protocols in place that are designed specifically not only to protect sensitive information, but to protect our ability to continue to collect and analyze that kind of information.
And let's not forget, the midterm election is now just 18 days away. President Biden has spent much of this week talking up his agenda and his administration's policies. And in an exclusive interview airing this weekend on the Sunday Show with Jonathan Capehart, Biden offered his warning about what will happen if Republicans take over Congress.
This is a choice between what kind of country you want, between, for example, do you let us do you make sure that we're able to afford prescription drugs for people that are elderly? Do we have a circumstance where we're able to negotiate? Medicare is able to negotiate drug prices. The Republicans have made it clear. First thing they want to do is most of them voted against the bill to reconstruct America through the infrastructure bill, highways, roads, they all voted against, to a person, voted against the Inflation Reduction Act, which provides for environmental security and safety. They don't have a platform other than tear down what I've been able to do, we've been able to do. And I don't know what they're for.